as I pulled up in my deliberately understated Tesla. No chrome wraps or custom paint, just clean lines and tinted windows. The valet's eyes skipped right over it, focusing instead on the Lamborghinis and Bentleys crowding the circular drive. "Service entrance is in the back," he called out, barely glancing at me. "Staff parking only in front." I checked my watch. A simple Timex rather than the diamonds and gold favored by Hampton Hill's usual clientele. In exactly 15 minutes, the club's ownership would quietly change hands, the result of 6 months of careful negotiations and shell companies. "I have a lunch meeting," I said, stepping out in my understated black suit. The valet frowned. "Listen, if you're here for a catering job." "Sarah Bennett," I supplied. "Meeting with the Ashworths." His eyes widened slightly. The Ashworths were club royalty, old money that went back generations. The same family that had rejected my membership application 3 times, citing insufficient social standing. One moment. He disappeared inside, returning with Marcus Reynolds, the club manager who'd personally handed me my last rejection letter. "Miss Bennett," Marcus said, his smile tight. "The service entrance is around back, yes." I glanced at my phone as it buzzed. Preliminary transfer papers were ready for signing. "But I'm here as the Ashworth's guest." He made a show of checking his list. "I'm afraid there must be some mistake. The Ashworth's table is reserved for distinguished members only." The way he said distinguished made it clear what he thought of my status. If only he knew that his salary for the past month had been paid from one of my subsidiary accounts. "Perhaps you should call them," I suggested mildly. "That won't be necessary." He gestured to the back of the building. "The staff entrance is clearly marked." My phone buzzed again. Final transfer complete. Hampton Hills Country Club ownership officially transferred to Phoenix Holdings. I smiled, hearing the distinctive whir of rotor blades approaching. "Right on schedule." "Actually," I said, "I think I'll use my helipad." Marcus's face contorted in confusion. "The club's helipad is for members only." The sleek black helicopter crested over the trees, my company logo gleaming on its side. As it descended onto the pad, the downdraft scattered the valet's carefully arranged luxury car's paperwork. "About that membership status," I said, straightening my jacket. "I believe things are about to change. Sometimes the best entrance isn't through any door at all." The helicopter touched down with precision as my phone displayed another message. "Board members assembled in main dining room. Awaiting new owner's arrival." Marcus stared at the aircraft, then at me, his face cycling through confusion to dawning horror. That's the club's executive transport." "Actually," I corrected, "it's my executive transport. Along with everything else here." The pilot emerged, Jane Chin, my CFO and longtime friend who'd helped orchestrate this takeover. She'd been denied membership too, despite managing one of the largest investment funds on the East Coast. "Miss Bennett," she called out, "the board is waiting." Marcus stepped forward, sputtering. "Tao see here." "No, you see here." I finally pulled out my real credentials, the ownership papers I'd been waiting months to reveal. Hampton Hills Country Club is now owned by Phoenix Holdings. Or more specifically by me. The color drained from his face as he scanned the documents. Behind him, the valet was frantically whispering into his phone, no doubt spreading the news. "This is impossible," Marcus managed. "The club has been owned by the same families for generations, yes." I started walking toward the main entrance, enjoying how quickly he scrambled to open the door. Until they over-leveraged themselves trying to maintain their exclusive status. Amazing how quickly old money can disappear when no one's watching the accounts. The main dining room fell silent as I entered. There sat the club's board. The same people who'd reviewed my membership applications with such disdain. The Ashworths, my supposed lunch hosts, looked like they'd swallowed something sour. "Ladies and gentlemen," I announced, taking my place at the head of the table. "I believe we have some new membership policies to discuss. You can't just walk in here and," Gerald Ashworth began. "I can, and I did." I nodded to Jane, who distributed copies of the new club bylaws. "First order of business. Eliminating discriminatory membership practices." "This is outrageous," someone protested. "No," I said firmly. What's outrageous is rejecting qualified members based on their background while running this place into financial ruin. Did you really think no one would notice the club's debt? The room erupted in angry mutters. I held up my hand. You have two choices, I continued. Accept the new inclusive membership policies and stay on as regular members or leave. Either way, the days of Hampton Hills being your exclusive sanctuary are over. Victoria Ashworth, who'd once loudly questioned whether I could afford the membership fees, raised her hand tremulously. And our existing memberships? Will be reviewed, I smiled, through the service entrance. I hear it's clearly marked. The implications sank in across the room. The very people who'd forced others to use the back door would now have to prove their worth to stay. Sometimes karma needs a helicopter to make its point. 1 month later, I sat in what used to be the members-only lounge, now transformed into an open seating area. The pretentious oil paintings of founding members had been replaced with works by local artists. The air of exclusivity had given way to something more valuable, genuine community. Miss Bennet. Marcus appeared at my elbow, his formerly imperious demeanor notably subdued. The new membership applications are ready for review. I glanced at the stack of papers. On top was an application from Dr. Patel, a brilliant surgeon who'd been rejected 3 times despite saving Gerald Ashworth's life last year. Below that was one from Maria Rodriguez, whose tech startup was revolutionizing renewable energy. Approved, I said, signing both immediately. And the renovations? The Children's Center is complete, he reported, though some former board members are questioning the necessity of converting the male-only cigar room. They can question all they want from their new positions as regular members. I smiled, remembering how quickly the old guard's attitudes had changed when their preferred parking spots and special privileges disappeared. How are they adapting to the new system? Marcus suppressed a smile. Mr. Ashworth had some difficulty understanding why his legacy status doesn't guarantee him priority tea times anymore. My phone buzzed with a notification. Victoria Ashworth was at the front desk, demanding access to her former private dining room, now a community space for local business meetings. Tell her she's welcome to use it, I said, right after the coding workshop for underprivileged teens finishes their session. The look on Marcus's face was priceless. In the past month, he'd watched Hampton Hills transform from an exclusive bubble to a vibrant community hub. The funny thing was, membership applications had actually increased. Turns out real accomplishment was more interesting than inherited status. Oh, and Marcus? I added as he turned to leave. How's the staff entrance working out? He flushed slightly. The service entrance was now the main entrance for everyone, including former board members who'd once treated it like a mark of shame. It's efficient, he managed, though Mr. Harrison complained about carrying his own golf clubs through it yesterday. Imagine that, I mused. Having to use the same door as everyone else. Almost like being treated as an equal human being. My phone lit up again. Jane was arriving with our newest board members. A diverse group of accomplished professionals who'd earned their success rather than inheriting it. The helicopter's distinctive sound approached, making several former distinguished members look up nervously from their lunch. Miss Bennet, a voice called. I turned to see Sarah Chin, Jane's teenage daughter, leading a group of young coders through the former trophy room, now a state-of-the-art tech lab. We finished our app prototype. Want to see? Absolutely. I joined their table, noting how Victoria Ashworth watched from across the room, probably remembering how she'd once complained about those people ruining the club's atmosphere. The kids proudly demonstrated their project, a community service app that connected local needs with volunteers. The same concept I'd pitched in my first membership application, dismissed as unsuitable for our establishment. Excellent work, I praised. How about we set up a presentation in the main ballroom? Invite some venture capitalists. Their eyes lit up. Behind them, I saw several former board members shift uncomfortably, no doubt recalling their own children's mediocre business pitches that had once commanded the club's full attention. My phone chimed with another message. The Ashworths were selling their summer house. Apparently, losing their club status had impacted their social standing more than expected. Amazing how quickly artificial importance deflates when stripped of its exclusive venue. Miss Bennet. Marcus had returned. The helicopter pad needs your approval for tonight's arrival. Who's coming in? Dr. Patel and Ms. Rodriguez. They're leading the Medical Technology Symposium in the main hall. I nodded, remembering how the main hall had once been reserved for debutante balls and legacy member celebrations. Make sure they have full access to all facilities. And Marcus? If anyone complains about the noise, I'll direct them to the service entrance, he finished with a slight smile. For a quieter arrival option. As the afternoon progressed, I watched the club's new reality unfold. In the dining room, a Nobel laureate chatted with a first-generation college student about quantum physics. By the pool, a retired janitor's son taught the Ashworth's grandson how to code. The barriers of artificial exclusivity had fallen, replaced by genuine achievement and mutual respect. Victoria Ashworth approached hesitantly as I was reviewing the next month's community programs. Ms. Bennett, she said, her designer outfit slightly less pristine than usual. About my daughter's coding class application. The one you said would lower the club's standards last year? I referred to my notes. Let me check the waiting list. She flinched. I know we were incorrect in our assessment of certain members. You mean you were elitist and discriminatory, I corrected calmly. The question is, what changed? The discovery that I own the club, or the realization that real merit doesn't come with a family crest? Before she could answer, the helicopter returned, bringing Jane and the new board members. Among them was Maria Rodriguez, whose rejected application Victoria had once called presumptuous. Welcome to Hampton Hills, I announced loud enough for everyone to hear. Where achievement speaks louder than ancestry. Victoria slipped away as the new leaders entered, their accomplishments and innovations worth more than all the legacy memberships combined. The old guard watched from their now standard tables, their former privileges replaced by the simple dignity of earning their place. My phone showed one final message for the day. Hampton Hills voted Most Innovative Community Space by Business Weekly. I smiled, watching the sunset through windows that no longer separated the worthy from the unworthy. The helicopter cast long shadows across the grounds where generations of exclusivity had finally given way to genuine merit. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about keeping people out. It's about showing them what they missed by keeping others away. And sometimes the most powerful statement isn't made by closing doors, but by opening them to everyone who deserves to walk through. Even if they have to use the service entrance to do it. The sound of young coders celebrating their success echoed through halls once reserved for whispered judgments and social scheming. In the end, the real exclusivity wasn't about who you kept out. It was about what you built when you let everyone in. And from